Every boy who's ever slipped into a dress just because they wanted to eventually faces that moment, the instant when someone else, anyone, sees the girl they've been yearning to be. It happens in countless ways, being caught, faltering in gestures, venturing outside and tripping over circumstances. That moment inevitably arrives, and when it does, the mix of fear, shame, and guilt is unavoidable. To claim otherwise would be a lie. They exist, and they demand to be confronted. Some girls are lucky. They manage to keep their desires hidden for years, only revealing them to a trusted few. This is the story of Avery, one of the fortunate ones. I think my mother always knew. She must have, ever since I was old enough to act on it, that I'd been dressing as a girl. Sometimes I pulled off a convincing look, but more often I just looked like a boy in a dress. Yet, each time I slipped into a skirt or dress, that familiar surge of euphoria would hit me, a cocktail of calm, fear, guilt, and longing, leaving me desperate to be a real girl. Wishing upon stars never made it happen, but the desire never faded. By the time I was 15, I knew the stigma boys like me faced, but it didn't stop me. I'd built a small but meaningful wardrobe, a few bras, some panties and tights, 4 skirts, several tops, and 3 dresses, all paired with appropriate shoes, of course. I kept everything, including my makeup, tucked away in bags in my closet. I suppose I should have known my mother might eventually notice, but I was too absorbed in my longing to think about that. I ordered hormones online, hoping for subtle changes, maybe a bit more curve, smoother skin, or minimal chest growth. I didn't expect much, but mentally it helped, giving me the sense that I was at least taking steps toward being the girl I wanted to be. I started them immediately. Within less than a year, though, the changes went far beyond what I'd imagined. I lost muscle, shed weight, and no longer had body hair. My skin became soft and smooth. My bust grew to an A cup, and my hips started to round out. The differences were undeniable, and I could no longer hide them. Baggy sweaters and loose pants wouldn't do the job anymore. Eventually, I realized I had no choice but to confide in the one person I was sure already knew, my mother. "Mom?" I said hesitantly. "Yes, sweetie? I need to tell you something, please don't be upset." "What is it?" I have a feminine chest now," I admitted. "And hips. And smooth skin." "What?" "That's, boys don't." "Let me show you," I interrupted, quickly undressing. She took in the full extent of the changes. My body now held the modest but unmistakable figure of a girl. She stood silently, mouth slightly open, examining me as if searching for any hint of deception. "Well," she finally said, her voice steady, "I'm sure there's an explanation for this. I want the truth." That was the moment I had feared, the one I dreaded, but it had come. Heart pounding, I showed her the bottle of hormones, the purple pills I'd been taking for about a year. She glanced at the label, then took the bottle from me. "Go get dressed," she instructed. Later, she returned to my room while I sat at my desk reading fiction. "Do you understand the consequences of what you've done?" she asked. I shook my head, though I had a good idea. "These aren't cheap imitations," she continued. "These are real, pharmaceutical-grade female hormones. Do you understand what that means?" "How long have you been taking them?" "Maybe a little over a year," I replied. She explained that, based on what she'd read online, the pills were potent enough to push my body into a female puberty. That was why my body was changing the way it was, why I was developing like a girl. I had to fight a smile. I almost succeeded, but it slipped through anyway. "This isn't amusing," she said sharply. "So tell me, what are we supposed to do now?" Without pausing to think, the words spilled out. "Let me live as the girl I was always meant to be." It was direct, maybe too direct, but she already knew the truth, so there was no point hiding it anymore. She stared at me, clearly taken aback, then let out a long breath. "We may not have much of a choice," she said. "Just wait until your father finds out. This is a nightmare. Why would you do this to yourself?" Do you even understand what this means? Being a girl isn't about makeup and pretty clothes. Her expression hardened. Your father is going to be furious. Can I suggest something? I asked carefully. What if you're the one who tells him? If he hears it secondhand, he'll picture a boy in a dress and lose his temper immediately. But if he sees me, Avery, as I actually look now, maybe he'll see what's really happening instead of reacting to the wrong image. She hesitated, studying me, then nodded slowly. All right. That might calm him down a little. But we do this my way. Understood? No childish behavior. I nodded. No, she corrected herself firmly. The only way you get through this without being grounded forever is if you look unmistakably like a young woman, completely and convincingly. Tomorrow morning, early, we'll see what we can manage. I'll help you look presentable, because you may be right, this could be your only shield. I won't let him hurt you, but he won't be pleased. For now, looking appropriate might be your best chance. Stay quiet. Do you understand? That marked the beginning of one of the biggest moments of my life, the moment when I would have to face my father. He was tall, broad, and intimidating, the kind of man who filled a room without speaking. Whatever happened next would be his decision. I didn't think anything truly extreme would happen, but there was no predicting how he'd react. All I could hope was that when he looked at me, he'd see a girl standing there, not the son he believed he knew. In the beginning, even buying clothes had been terrifying. I'd grab something simple, like a bra, rush through the checkout, and leave with my face burning red. I was convinced everyone was watching me, judging me. I later realized they barely noticed. Over time, I became more deliberate, choosing things that actually fit instead of random items. That's when I learned my measurements, a 34A bra and a size 10 dress. Even so, knowing my mother was fully aware made everything feel heavier. Eventually, after some hesitation, I let her take my measurements herself. It was nerve-wracking. She didn't hide her concern at how my body was changing, but she also made it clear she wasn't going to abandon me. What that support would look like, I didn't yet know. She sighed deeply before speaking. You've clearly started developing, she said. And I expect your chest will continue to grow. When I was 16, I was already a full B cup, and you're not far behind. Your hips aren't quite there yet, but they'll fill out soon enough. That gives us some time, but not much, to help your father understand what's happening before your body changes any further. Presentable, I repeated, uncertain. Yes, she replied. Okay, if you say so, I said quietly. I do, she answered. But I'll be the judge of that. She gestured toward my room. Go ahead and get dressed. I'll be out on the patio when you're ready. Walk out and show me, and we'll see if you look as convincing as you think. I want to see this girl you've been hiding for so long. She left me standing there alone, the weight of her words settling over me. Getting fully dressed was something I'd dreamed about countless times, yet now that the moment was here, I froze. Fear wrapped itself tightly around my excitement. Eventually, I forced myself into the bathroom and began preparing. I applied lotion, carefully getting ready, when an impulsive idea crossed my mind, an outfit I knew made me look especially confident. I dismissed it immediately. This wasn't the time. Practicality won out, and I pushed the thought aside, telling myself there would be another day, if I got through this one first. After a moment of hesitation, I settled on a pale green sundress, pairing it with low white heels and matching white jewelry. Once everything was secured in place with tape, I slipped on the new bra, which lifted my budding chest just enough to hint at cleavage. I couldn't help smiling at the sight. Pulling on pantyhose, I began my makeup. My smooth, hairless face made it easy, just a bit of foundation, pale eyeshadow and eyeliner, a touch of blush, and then I brushed my hair, clipping a white barrette to hold back the left side. With everything ready, I pulled the dress over my head and zipped it up. The snug bodice pressed against me in a reassuring way, while the square-cut neckline revealed just a small glimpse of my chest. I added a touch of lipstick and a spritz of perfume, then stepped into my heels. Facing the door, I took a deep breath and opened it before hesitation could stop me. The first step was irreversible. Holding my head high, I confidently walked through the house to the patio, where Mom was waiting. The soft click of my heels drew her gaze, and I noticed the brief flicker of surprise on her face, quickly replaced with a gentler expression. "Well?" I asked, smiling. "You look lovely, honey. Even better than I expected. Come closer, I want a good look at you." With soft Glenn Miller playing in the background, Mom examined me carefully, noting my hair, makeup, and the way the dress fit. Then she motioned for me to sit. "You really do look lovely," she admitted. "I honestly expected you'd look nice, but now we need to think about your father and how you plan to tell him." "I hadn't planned on telling him, at least, not until now," I said. "But if I don't, he'll figure it out eventually. Everyone else will, especially if you're right and I continue developing. I think the best time would be right after he gets home from work, before dinner. You can wear one of my school-colored skirts and a loose sweater first, they're just baggy enough to give a hint. Then you can change into this dress. It'll make the point clear, and he won't have much room to fuss. He won't like it, but after seeing you like this, he'll have to accept the situation." "If I survive that long," I muttered. "He won't hurt you," she reassured me. "But you'll need to look your absolute best if you want any chance of convincing him. And while this isn't ideal, given what I've seen, I don't really have a choice but to help you. You're developing like a teenage girl, no matter what anyone does. So the smart move is to take you to a salon. They can cut and style your hair for easier management, and maybe even help with your nails. Your makeup is fine." "How does that sound?" "I'd rather wear my sheath dress when he sees me, Mom," I said. "Anything loose will just hide the changes," she said. "Besides, the skirt and sweater are in school colors, which makes sense for now." "Okay, then wear it if you think that's best. Meanwhile, I'm going to call the doctor and see if he confirms my suspicions." While she made the call, I went to my room and pulled my clothes out of the bags, hanging them in the closet, no more hiding them. I tried on my hot pants again, adjusting the blouse just under my bra, and experimented with a bright red lipstick instead of the usual pale color. Mom walked in a few moments later. "That's an interesting look," she said, smiling faintly. "Turn around so I can see the back." I complied, and she added, "It's playful, but you'll need to change for now. The doctor wants to see you. If you've been on these hormones for over a year, the effects are likely permanent. He almost confirmed it when I mentioned you don't have to shave. We'll see him tomorrow. For now, put on your usual clothes, your father will be home soon." I quickly changed and showered. By the time Dad arrived, I spent the evening on edge, convinced he could sense something, yet he carried on with his normal routine, showing no awareness of anything unusual. The next morning, Mom woke me early and reminded me to wear a skirt. Once again, I became Avery. I put on a short tan and white pleated skirt with a white blouse featuring a Peter Pan collar that accentuated my chest, along with low white heels. After finishing hair and makeup, I joined Mom in the kitchen. She made no mention of the outfit, offering only a few casual words after breakfast. Afterward, it was off to the doctor. I had a complete physical, and he spoke with a serious, professional tone, clearly weighing the situation. "There's no doubt anymore," the doctor said. "Even with the strongest male hormones, I seriously doubt she could revert back to being a boy. There have been no signs of male puberty, nothing has descended, and her development is following the typical pattern of a girl. The best I can do now is guide her through this transition. She'll still need hormones, but under supervision." Mom and I left the office in silence. I could feel her anger simmering, so I stayed quiet as well. On the drive home, she headed straight for the salon. "I hadn't expected we'd come today, but we might as well get it done," she said quietly. "It looks like you'll be a girl from now on. Tonight has to be the night we tell your father," she continued. As I said, your best chance is to look perfect. It'll take a few hours, so I'll drop you off and speak with him. He needs to know that you have something important to tell him. I won't reveal what it is, but he has the right to know something is happening. After 3 hours of waxing, styling, cutting, coloring, nail treatment, and makeup, I looked completely transformed, better than I ever had. Mom came in, saw me, and finally smiled, the first genuine smile since this all began. After paying the bill, we headed home. She told me to change, so I went to my room to prepare for what she called my debut. As I began undressing, Mom entered with 2 shopping bags. I bought these for you. Use them now, so he won't have to witness your chest developing further. And wear this dress, she said, placing the bags on the bed before leaving. One bag contained a short black sheath dress, falling 3 inches above my knees, with thin spaghetti straps. The other held a new bra, a B cup, with gel inserts for shaping. I started with a long bubble bath, followed by applying lotion. I put on the panties, then the bra, which now gave a realistic shape to my chest. I added pantyhose, slipped into the dress, and finished with my only black heels, a touch of perfume, a gold necklace, and bracelet. After applying lipstick, I looked to Mom for approval. You look fine, she said, then instructed me to stay in my room until called. I heard Dad's car pull into the driveway and quickly prepared myself. I could hear their voices, and soon Mom came to get me. Walk out like it's completely normal and stand by the doorway until I tell you otherwise, she instructed. I obeyed, heart racing. Mom informed Dad that I had something to tell him, then gestured for me to step forward. My knees felt weak, my throat dry, and my stomach churned as I forced my feet to move. I finally stood face to face with him. His eyes traveled from my hair to my toes, pausing at my real, shapely chest. My legs were long and graceful, my hands delicate, with lightly polished nails and a small gold ring glinting on my left hand. I kept silent, as Mom had told me to, and Dad broke the silence first. What is this? A costume? A party? No, it's not a costume, Mom replied. Avery started developing as a girl about a year ago, and she finally confided in me. We saw the doctor today, and he confirmed what I suspected. Avery's development is natural, no padding, all real. I've seen her unclothed, so I know exactly what I'm saying. Dad looked shocked, trying to process everything. So, you're telling me our son has become a girl? That's impossible. It's the hormones, Mom explained. Some children naturally produce more of one hormone than another. Avery has a higher level of female hormones, which is why she's developed into a girl. Aside from her male anatomy, she's all girl. I've seen her myself, so I'm certain. She paused, then added, now that you understand, we can't change what's happened. The focus needs to be on adjusting to having a daughter instead of a son. Can you do that? Dad was silent for a moment before finally turning to me. A daughter? A girl? His voice was steady, yet disbelief lingered. And what about Alex? I shrugged, unsure what to say. So, you actually like this, Dad said slowly. Being a girl, I mean. I always thought you were more of a boy. I do, I answered honestly. It's not a bad thing at all. His expression darkened. I could put an end to this, he said. I could find a doctor and stop it. Mom cut in sharply. Avery isn't going anywhere, and that's not up for debate. We're not asking for your approval, we're telling you the reality. Hormones caused our child to develop this way, and now we have a daughter. Whether you like it or not. I don't like it, Dad said flatly. Not at all. I'm still the same person, I added carefully. I still enjoy everything I used to. What's really changed? We can still do things together. My son wearing a dress, he shot back. Mom didn't miss a beat. Do you need proof that she isn't a boy anymore? No, Dad snapped. I don't want to see anything like that. Then you accept she's a girl? Mom asked. I'll take your word for it, he said stiffly. I definitely don't want to see proof. The doctor said there's no reversing this, Mom added. She's well past that point. Dad stood abruptly. I need some air. Mom followed immediately. We're still going to dinner at the country club. He hesitated. No, we're not. Yes, we are, she said firmly. 20 minutes later, we were all stuck in our own thoughts, Dad angry and overwhelmed, me terrified at the idea of walking into a place where everyone knew us, dressed as a girl. Somewhere deep down, I'd known this day would come, but I hadn't expected Mom to throw me straight into it. She flashed me a knowing smile before changing, and that's when I realized it was deliberate. This was a test. She wanted to see if I could truly pass. I didn't have the option to refuse. When Dad came back, we were ready. He still looked sour, but he grabbed his jacket and drove us to the club. Mom linked her arm through his, and I took his other arm as we walked in. He wasn't about to cause a scene, and we entered like we always had. Philip, the host, greeted us and seated us without hesitation, just a polite smile. Dinner passed quietly, followed by music from the band. Mom and Dad danced while I stayed at the table. Then I noticed Ryan approaching. We'd played golf together before. He asked me to dance, and rather than sit there feeling awkward, I accepted. If this was a test, I intended to pass it. You look really nice, Ryan said as we moved together. Better than I expected. You knew? I asked. Yeah, he admitted. Most of us did. There was just something about you. Sometimes I noticed your shape, especially your chest, and the way you moved. It reminded me of my sister. So I had a feeling. Then why ask me to dance? To be sure, he said with a grin. What should I call you? Avery, I replied quietly. Golf tomorrow? Sure. What time? 10. I'll pick you up at 8:30. Okay, I said, still surprised by how easily he accepted everything. After the song, we returned to the table. Ryan then politely asked Dad if it was all right for me to play golf with him the next day. Dad looked momentarily confused, then nodded. I suppose that's fine. She already knows the game. Ryan walked off, leaving me wondering how he'd figured it out when I thought I'd been so careful. Dad looked baffled, while Mom seemed completely unsurprised. Later that night, Mom handed me one of her skirts, a clever design that looked like a skirt but had shorts underneath, bright and green. The next morning, I wore it with a lightweight, sleeveless white top that showed my bra straps. It felt freeing compared to the heavy clothes I'd worn before. I pulled my hair into a ponytail, added a little lipstick, and went to grab my clubs. Dad was in the kitchen. You got any cash? He asked. Before I could answer, he handed me a 50. You might want to make it interesting, like you always do. You could still beat him on the course, Avery. Wearing a bra won't change your swing. He's terrible at chipping, you should win by at least 4. Take him for 20. He'll think he can beat a girl. But you're not quite there yet, and I know you can still win. Thanks, Dad, I said, taking the $50. But I'm making him buy lunch too. Play well, he replied as I headed out. When Ryan asked if I wanted to play from the forward tees, I nearly smacked him. I insisted we stick to the blue tees like always. His pride was suddenly on the line. Despite knowing better, all he could see was a girl standing there, and he wasn't about to let a girl beat him. When he reluctantly agreed, I knew I had the advantage. His second shots were going to be trickier, while mine, thanks to my stronger drives, would remain comfortably within my control. By the end of 9 holes, he was 6 strokes behind and visibly frustrated. I ultimately beat him by 10 strokes, $20, and lunch. I stopped by the ladies' room before joining him at the table. You haven't lost your touch, I teased, leaning my elbows on the table. That's $20 you owe me. Yeah, here, Ryan replied. You play well, for a girl. I do plenty of things just as well as any girl, I said. Oh, really? Like what? Hair, makeup, and other stuff, I teased. I don't think I want to know, at least, not yet, but I can imagine. After lunch, Ryan gave me a ride home, and I finally returned to my sanctuary, my bedroom. I showered, changed into shorts and a plain tee, and let my hair hang loose. I grabbed a soda and sat on the patio when Dad stepped out. Beat him easy, huh? Buy 10? That was an easy $20, plus lunch, he said. I see your mother wasn't kidding, you do have chest. I froze for a second. Yikes, no bra, I muttered. Dad spoke softly. I called the doctor. He confirmed you have an abundance of female hormones. He also said you took them yourself. Care to explain why? There's no real advantage to being a girl, you know. The moment of truth had arrived. I've always felt like a girl, Dad. As far back as I can remember. I didn't have a choice. I just had to be one. I never thought about what girls do or don't do, I just knew I had to be a girl. Well, according to the doctor, your mother was right. There's no turning back. Your body has changed too much, which means you don't have a choice either. But it doesn't seem to bother you. You understand you'll have to finish school as a girl? How do you think the other kids will react? Hopefully they'll see me as a real girl and leave me alone, I said. Your mother said you're taping yourself down. That can't be comfortable. And the other girls will probably notice. That means they won't think you're really a girl, right? I hesitated. Well, there's a panty. What kind of panty? He asked. A panty that makes a boy look like a girl. It's made to match your skin tone and is glued on, so you'll look, and probably function, like any other girl. I nodded, acknowledging his words. I'm angry that you did this to yourself, he said, keeping his voice calm but firm. But I can't let you put yourself in danger because of a decision. How much did it cost? 500, maybe more? I'll need to email them and check. I'll take care of it, I said. Now go get properly dressed. I don't want to see you not dressed correctly again. Understand? Yes, sir, I said, hurrying to my room. Although he wasn't yelling, I could sense his anger beneath the calm exterior. His calmness didn't reflect a lack of understanding. If anything, he grasped the situation even better than I did. Deep down, I realized he was going to help shape my life to be as feminine as possible. The fact that he examined the panty carefully was a sign of progress, but also brought uncertainty. The company offered various types, from basic versions to full-featured ones for more adult purposes. My goal was simply to pass as a girl enough to finish school without drawing attention. The medium-grade version suited me perfectly. Every day afterward, Mom drilled me on posture, walking, and sitting, teaching me to present myself as feminine. My smaller upper body helped, making it easier to keep my elbows in, like an average girl. The days felt long, but progress was steady. Then came the fitting for the panty. While Dad had arranged it, Mom and I went together. I learned that it was the best available model. The reality of my choices didn't hit all at once, it came in stages. With the panty, I could stand among other girls and not stand out. Still, I felt nervous and awkward, especially when boys started noticing. And of course, fitting in at home continued to be a challenge. The true moment of truth came when I fully accepted that I had always been meant to be a girl, and acted on it. Everything else, the reactions from others, learning to adapt, and navigating challenges, was secondary. I am a girl in every way now. I understand what Dad meant when he said there's no advantage to being a girl, and I've come to embrace the limitations and possibilities that come with it. The real moment of truth is acknowledging our differences and choosing to live authentically. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.